What is up, YouTube? It is a beautiful day outside. I think it's like 72 degrees, but we have a pretty big breeze going on. It stops for a few minutes, starts gusting again. But today, we're going to go ahead and make some progress on the cb400t bobber build. I did get the seat done. That took me about 3 hours yesterday. I did not record it because it took me 3 hours. I thought it was going to be a quick job. It was not. So, but on the list today, we're going to be doing the rod that goes from here to here. I did get the kickstand off of that bike. I was contemplating on which side I wanted it on. Typically it goes on the other side. Normally on most all bikes, like that one or that one, it's on that side. But I did just kind of form fit the exhaust. Nothing's bolted down. Nothing's, other than the two headers. But the kickstand will not fit with it like that. And she's kind of at its lowest. It looks really low, but the bike has also got leaning a little bit because I had to move one of the jack stands. But I don't know. The exhaust, it's so weird. This is going to be such a weird thing. It's almost, I got to figure out something different because I intended on the exhaust to be on this side, but I have to have the kickstand on this side just because the orientation of it. So it almost looks like I think I have to come this side with the exhaust. And I don't really know how without doing a whole bunch of jumping through hoops. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna have to just take some time to get that thought over. The seat is on there. It is not my best work. I think I could have probably pulled it a little tighter, but I'll probably end up just getting a seat that I like. I don't think I like how it really turned out. I mean, I hand did it, so it's not terrible. And then I don't really think I like these springs. But they're enough, at least for the test ride. I feel like it sits a little high and all that. Kind of makes it look more like a cafe bobber. But that's because of short wheelbase and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's fine for now. But I got to figure this out. And I just don't know because of clearancing. We're low. We're a solid ½ inch off the ground. So I've got to be able to have the exhaust clearance, the foot pedal brake, unless I go a different route with that. So I thought about attempting like a cable driven setup, but I don't know. And I've looked for swap kits for this. I can't find anything to swap this to a drum brake without having to just get another rim, which in maybe later on down the line, I'll swap them to hydraulic discs. Like the front is a hydraulic disc, which I like better, but old drums just have a look to them, and she's filthy. That's that rod. That's what you're hearing. But I gotta get this. I gotta figure out something on this because I want to be able to see it sit on a kickstand. Finally, be able to see it on a kickstand. So I don't know. Which that's just ratchet strapped up. I'm taking that off in a minute, and I'm gonna see what happens if I just because I have a 2-to-1. I don't know if you can really see it. The pipe, it's not fully in there. It's just form fit at the moment. I wonder if I could just flip that over and bring it all over to this side and just kind of see where it lands. Because this here is the only thing that is going to hold this up from me getting it where I needed to go. The exhaust didn't matter on the build before because it was on the original, just the 2-peg stand that just kind of came out like that, which I did not want to keep for this. But yeah, we're close. So the rod for the brake drum that's going to hold it in place and keep that whole drum from spinning, the exhaust, and the kickstand are what I want to get done in this video. So I'm going to start by taking that exhaust off and just flipping it over, and we'll see what it looks like here in just a minute. All right, so I think I have figured out the best option. That's not quite the angle, it's just hanging there. I took that off. This will end up sitting somewhere back here, which is fine. But I'm gonna cut that back a little bit and curve it. I'm gonna curve it through here, up under here. I'm gonna bring it up some, bring it out over here, and curve it back to where it's gonna meet up with that. I think that is the best option. I tried flipping it over. It won't fit at all. It's hitting that. There won't be any movement in this. That's just not an option. So I think curving it from that side to this side is probably gonna be our best option. And that's the piece of steel. I feel like I'm robbing this bike, robbing Peter to pay Paul. But this was the exhaust that I had made for the turbo. There's the turbo flange. The pipe, I used a micrometer and just locked it in, and it, without the wrap on there, I believe that's the exact same size. So I'm gonna get that unbolted off. I may just cut the wrap off or peel the wrap off and then just take the Sawzall and cut it there, because I have it tapers down into the 212 exhaust. If you ever worked on them, I have it tapered down into there, so we're pretty much just gonna lop it off right there, because I need that bend, and potentially that little bend there. But let's get it, because this whole situation, the magnet got caught in that, so I had to beat the snot out of that because I needed it out of my way, and it slammed down into it with one of those little magnets I like to use. They're just itty bitty little things, but I had to essentially beat the heck out of it and shattered the magnet inside of it. So that was a whole thing. But let's get moving on this, because yeah. Okay, there's that. I'll probably end up using that heat wrap on this just so I don't waste it or throw it away. But I got them cut. I had to shave that one some. Got that one held in there with some magnets I'm not a very big fan of right now, but they're strong and they work. I went ahead and just made that loose so I could see that when I go to tack these in. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just hit them with some tacks real quick, take the whole thing out, and probably put a nice little bead on there. But I just wanted to try and raise it so it's not the lowest part of the bike, which it's still pretty low. I'm not a fan of that, but I only have but so many options with this. Well, crack your cold one and sit back and watch with me. I still gotta do that bar, but exhaust is a big thing. If I can at least do the exhaust and the kickstand, that bar is gonna be a cakewalk. But let's do it. All right, so I got it all tacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and just get them welded up, and then we'll fit it back on. And I gotta make some little tabs. At least one tab in the center that's gonna just help support it, because there's gonna be a tab off of that end. Water's fired up. That's already been tacked. I've already ground down a nice little, not ground down, but I wire wheeled a nice little spot for our ground connection for the welder. We're pretty much rear and tear ready to go. Don't ask about that, it's not mine. But it may get its own little thing. But yeah, back on the exhaust. Okay, so I know there are a lot of small little, just clips, little snip bits up in this. But I think we're pretty much there in the exhaust. I mean, I gotta make a mount there and a mount somewhere up in that center, but she is looking good. The clearance under the motor is like that much. I literally have a piece of steel under there while I got this held so I can keep my gaps so I can make my mounts. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. I don't like how close this is to this, but that's fine. We got our clearance there is good. Our clearance for our peg is good, but I mean, we're still gonna end up trimming this, so that doesn't matter, and then we're trimming down there, so neither of those matter. I'm gonna make at least a bracket for this side, and that side is going to be a little difficult. I went ahead and just don't mind that weld. That was not done today. Oh, that one was done today. And that one right there was done today. That's an old one. I don't know why I freaking globbed it on like that, but for some reason I did. So, mounts. I'm sure I have, of course, scrap pieces of steel laying around that just already have a pre-drilled hole, so I just gotta find one of those. Which, actually, the piece that's under the, in between the motor and the exhaust is the one that I was using prior. So I may pull that out and cut the tab off of it and use the tab, make the tab, do all that good stuff. But yeah, let me do that. We're there on the exhaust. Once that's bolted up, I get the clamp on there, I tighten those clamps up, I can let the system free hang. It's coming together. It is coming together. It's not the original look I envisioned, but it's different, and that's what matters. If I wanted to, I even have room right here, I believe, that I could actually make the battery box drop into here. Have it actually sink down in and be kind of sort of hidden in there. But let's get after it. Maybe I'll even pull out the battery box just to see what it'll look like. Because if it looks good, I may hard mount that up into there and then make the mount off of that for the lower part of the mid section of the exhaust. But from there to that side to this side up until right here on these pipes, that's all one piece. And then that. Heck yeah. Okay. So I blew a breaker while I was welding and it completely threw me off. My apologies, I just burped. I was supposed to show this before I went ahead and did it. So when I had planned on putting the exhaust on, I left this little just bracket to come down. These haven't even been cleaned up yet. They're still covered in spatter and all that crap. I mean, most of my welds are. But, yeah. I had intended on showing you this, but I did not. But, at the same time, it's on there. It's finally on there. So, I have one more thing on my list, and it is that brake holder thing, which goes from right there to somewhere up there. And once that's on, I just go through and make sure my bolts are okay, and then I can actually probably take this thing for a little test rip. Kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, kickstand folds up nicely. Looks pretty good on there and everything. Got the nice OEM little foot grabber. I did have to take the foot peg off just to grind that, so it should fit, hopefully, back on there. I mean, I'm still gonna have to lop off that little end. Same with that side, but this side's gonna require a little bit more finesse. I guess when I loosened all this up, now the kicker is hitting the foot peg. Don't know, it'll be fine. I can either widen out some holes, or I can figure all that out. That's simple comparatively to doing the entire exhaust, to pretty much everything else. Making a couple holes a little bit bigger just to get that much more clearance, I can do that because it's only one hole. It's the one on the bottom that's really holding us up, the one that's actually holding the brake rod. But you can see where she's starting to get a nice little bit of surface rust for how long this thing has actually taken. I did not want this thing to take this long, but we are there. And the OEM battery box, which I did find, without this tab, or these two tabs, I can't remember what I bent that for, probably to hold something, on this will actually fit in that little gap. So when I go to do the electric start, working on all that, I actually even took the cable that goes from the ECU and starter solenoid. I actually took that off, so I'll have to just rerun that. But we're there. Other than a back fender and that peg and that rod, we're exactly where I need to be. I'm ecstatic on that. All I have to do is get that rod on there, put that foot peg back on. I can kind of get around this, just start the bike and then tighten that up, and then we're good on that part. Throw the chain on, make sure we're tight on there, and I can actually take the thing for a little rip. And of course, take that tape off. But I'm so hyped to take it on a rip. I don't know if y'all will come with me, but I don't know. But I'm so hyped to have gotten this far, even just today, and I plan on at least getting that rod done. So it is starting to get late. I have to pull the carb off of that 250 Raptor. I'm hyped. This is my priority. That he wants to learn how to work on that, so I'm gonna let him learn how to work on that. If I don't have to pull the carb off, I'm gonna let him pull the carb off. But that looks good. Yeah. Let's start on the let me start on that. Hopefully I'll tune y'all back in before I just go ahead and weld it up and just show you the finished project. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna probably lop off the OEM part and just throw it on there. If I ever plan on going back or need it, which I highly doubt it, it's welded to frame. So usually don't go backwards when I do one of these. Kind of. I did on this one. Just because I had stolen the swing arm for that bike. And then decided to eventually rebuild this bike. And then I had to buy a new one. So that's the one off eBay. The one behind me is the OEM one for this bike. So, and I don't remember if I cut all that stuff off already. Because I was a dumb little, 20-year-old? 19-year-old when I did that? Like 6 years ago. So, let's go ahead and do something with that. Alright, did not forget about y'all this time. Took the good old Sawzall and lopped that sucker right off. So now I just gotta get it put onto there. Figure out the spots, all that good stuff. Knock this thing out. Okay, so I got it in there, mounted up here, ran all the way back to there. They probably aren't the prettiest welds. I was just trying to get it to stay in one spot, but she's there now. She's where she needs to be. She's still loose on this end, only by a little bit, but she's where that part needs to be. I did just wipe that down with a rag and PB Blaster, just see what it would come out looking like. I think I said something about the clearancing of that. I went ahead and already took care of that. I just took that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and just made the hole just a little bit bigger. I did the same thing with them. I was able to shift it just forward enough where it just, like by a hair, misses. Which I'm absolutely fine with. As long as it's not hitting it, that's what matters. I still don't know how I feel about the seat, but I can ride it now, which is the goal. I definitely want to hit that with a buffer, and I want to wipe down the motor, but I'll wait till I go to pull the bike apart. I want to ride it for the first time before I do that. So without further ado, we're there for today. Kickstand is on. That foot peg side is not on. Chain's still not on, but we're about there, about where I want to be, at least for this episode. So without further ado, I appreciate every single one of y'all for watching. I got a little schmutz on my face. Appreciate it, every single one of y'all for watching this far on the Honda build. We're right there at the end. Just got to get it looking good now. I mean, of course, I still have to find a fender, blah, 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 finish the welds. And probably a couple other things, a couple minor things, just little inconvenient stuff. But other than that, we're right there. We're pushing maybe 1 episode, maybe 2 episodes left on this. I mean, besides from cleaning it up and hitting it with paint, of course. That's going to be a big one. That'll probably be mostly time-lapse. But it'll get that. And then I'll do a little cleaning up on the motor, a little bit cleaning up on the exhaust. Just making her look pretty. And I still got to, I think I've already said it, find this fender. Which is going to be the hardest part. Is just finding one that I think looks good. And then on top of that, the hard part is once I get it on, because I won't have this when I go to get it. So I've got to get it, bring it here, and hope that I like the way that it looks. But look at that. I'm a little proud of myself on that exhaust system, though. It looks different. The exhaust alone just looks different. My arm's getting tired from hanging it that high. But like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Make sure you crack your cold ones, because this one's well earned. And y'all have a good night, because I'm tired now. Y'all take it easy. Peace.